Financially raw, real, authentic wisdom with Lourens Oberholzer from Retire Rich and Happy.
So how do we make this year a success? Now, there's two things. The first thing is, it's quite interesting how, if you look back on 2021, on the one side, my personal experience was that it went by so quickly. It was like within minutes, it felt like the year was gone. So it really does feel like a year is just gone in an instant. But if I do look back and I really look at everything that happened in 2021, so many things changed. And some of it I had a direct influence on, some of it just happened to us. But so much happens in a year, really. So if so much happens in a year, if we start looking forward, we can make a difference in that year. We can make a big difference in the trajectory of our life. But one thing you need to realize is that people tend to overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in a decade. So guys, what I want you to really understand is that you will not change everything all at once. You have to understand that these things take time. But we start the year and we're going to lose weight and we're going to sort out our finances, we're going to pay off our debt, we're going to become millionaires, we're going to invest in property, we're going to do all of these things in 1 year. And the mountain we create for ourselves is so big that it's not going to happen in 1 year. And then by 3 months or halfway through the year, we give up on that. And then we start the new year and say, okay, last year we just write it off. 2021 was worse than 2020. Let's just write off the year. But this year, we're going to change X, Y, and Z. Instead of saying, let's start the journey this year, do what we can, work towards the goal so that next year we can build on top of the successes we had this year. You have to be grateful for the successes you have achieved. You have to learn from the failures you achieved. Because one thing you need to understand is that failure is not the opposite of success. And we tend to think that it is. We think if you ask any grade 3 learner and you say, what is the opposite to success? Like the opposite to black is white, the opposite to hot is cold. What is the opposite to success? And I can promise you 99% will say the opposite of success is failure. But that's not accurate. It is not the right answer. And we get taught this without really ever questioning that. The opposite of success is not failure. The opposite of success is inaction. Because without action, without doing something, you will never achieve success. Failure is a part of the journey to success. It is a necessary part of success. But we tend to think of it as opposites. So I've now failed at something, therefore I'm not going to be successful. And that we need to change. So during this year, the goals that you've set yourself, some of them you're going to succeed at, some of them you're going to fail at. But that failure is a learning experience. That failure is a way for you to correct course and make sure that you still go towards the goals that you've set yourself. There's a saying that says, be stubborn in your goals, but be flexible in your methods. So when you have set a goal, make sure that you've made the commitment to achieve that goal and be stubborn in that goal. If you said you're going to achieve something, you will achieve that. But don't be stubborn in your methods. Don't say, well, I'm going to do it by doing this one thing. And you see this thing doesn't work and you keep hitting your head against the wall, knowing it's never going to get you to your end result. We all know the saying, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. But still we keep doing it. We start the year and we say, we are going to lose 10 kilograms this year. And then what do? We stop eating, we starve ourselves, and we try. So a couple of weeks in, we can't maintain that anymore. And then what happens? We stop and we gain all that weight back plus an extra kilo. And next year, we say, well, this year I'm going to lose 10 kilograms. And we do exactly the same thing. We starve ourselves again, knowing that it doesn't work. That is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So if you're saying that you're going to achieve one thing, be stubborn in that. That is the goal that you've set yourself. But be flexible in your methods. Be flexible in the way that you want to or that you will achieve that. Sometimes you're going to do one thing and it's not going to give you the results. Then be solutions focused. It is so important for us to always be solutions focused. Don't be problem focused. When I talk to people and they tell me about their problems and what they want to achieve in life, and they tell me why they can't achieve something, and I give them a solution, and then immediately they give me a reason why that solution won't work. They give me a problem for every solution I give them. Then I immediately know that this person will not achieve their goal, because they are problem focused. They are not solutions focused. They're looking for reasons why it can't be done, instead of looking for reasons how it can be done. So you need to start looking for reasons how it can be done. The first thing you need to do is you need to set some goals. You need to really look at what it is that you want to achieve in this year, whether it is financial, whether it is personal, whether it's health-wise. What is it that you want to achieve? And once you have decided on that goal, what you then need to understand and ask yourself is, what is the cost going to be for me to achieve this goal? You can achieve anything you set your mind to, anything, if you are willing to pay the price, because every goal has a price, as long as you're willing to pay that price. The problem is we have these lofty ideals and these lofty goals, but we never consciously look at the price we are going to have to pay to achieve that goal. Is that price going to be cutting down on certain expenses to solve your cash flow problem? Is that price going to be, I have to stop smoking because I need to save 1,000 Rand or 2,000 Rand a month? Is that price, I have to give up my evenings of watching Netflix to do work on my own part-time business to create a business asset? Is that price going to be, I have to look at what I eat, I have to cut out my chocolates, I have to cut out my chocolate cake because I want to lose the weight? Is that price, I'm going to have to go to gym an hour a day, pack my bag in the morning before I go to work so that I can stop at gym on my way home? What is the price that you're going to have to pay to achieve the goal? Because once you have looked at that price and you've been honest with yourself about the price that you're going to have to pay to achieve that goal, the next question is very simple. Am I willing to pay that price? If I want to buy a Ferrari, if I walk into the dealership tomorrow and I say, listen, I want that red Ferrari, what is the first thing the guy is going to tell me? Well, it is, the cost for this is 5 million Rand. I can't walk in and say, I want the red Ferrari. The guy says, well, it's going to cost 5 million. I say, no. My goal is I want the Ferrari, but I don't want to pay 5 million for it. I just want it. Are they going to give me the Ferrari? No, they're going to laugh me out of the dealership because there's a price to pay for what I want. So you have to look at that and make a decision and say, firstly, what is the price? Secondly, am I willing to pay this price? Or am I going to think of 220 different excuses and reasons why I can't do what needs to be done to achieve that? And if you look at that and you're honest with yourself, and this is very important, guys, we are so good at bullshitting ourselves. If you are really honest with yourself and you say, you know what, I am not willing to pay this price for that goal, then your why, the reason why you want to achieve that goal is not strong enough. Then you have to go back to your goal setting and look at these goals and say, but why do I want to achieve this? Why do I want this goal? Let's go back to the Ferrari analogy. Let's say your goal is to buy yourself a 5 million rand Ferrari by December this year. And you sit down and you look at what you need to do. And one of the prizes that you have to pay, or the price that you have to pay to achieve that, is working 18-hour days. You're going to work non-stop for 18 hours a day. Phoning people, setting up meetings, working with people, generating revenue. You will have 6 hours to sleep, 5 or 4 hours to sleep, 1 hour to bath, eat, and 18 hours you work. You have no time for your family. You don't spend time with your kids. This is what you're going to have to do for 12 months. Then you have to look at that and say, am I willing to pay this price? And if you say, no, I'm not, then you're going to have to go back and say, but do I really want this Ferrari? Because that's the price. And is it worth it? Because sometimes we have this idealized version of what our goal will give us. But actually, when we really start digging into it and we really start thinking about what is it that we want to achieve and why and what we're going to have to give up to achieve it, then suddenly we realize that this idealized version of this goal is actually not worth what we have to pay to achieve that goal. And then we have to redirect our focus. Find another goal that is more towards what we are willing to pay and that will really make a positive influence or positive difference in our lives. So guys, goal setting and choosing what it is that you want to achieve is not as simple as just saying, I want this or I want to achieve that. Is really thinking about it, really looking at these goals. Because if you don't do that, it is so easy when things get tough, when things get difficult, when you have to make those sacrifices day in, day out, day in, day out. It's so easy to then give up on those goals and say, you know what, it's not that bad, because you haven't really committed to that goal. So if you've gone through and you've looked at these goals, you've asked yourself the question of what is it that I'm going to have to pay to achieve this goal, whether it's paying money, paying time, paying effort, paying your energy. If I'm willing to pay that price and still say I want to achieve that goal and I'm willing to do this, then you can start your journey on achieving that goal. We've got a message from Fricky. He says, if you have to go back and redirect or get a new goal, isn't that compromising on your goals? I know the example you made is a bit huge, but what if there's no alternative to your first goal? So again, Fricky, before you set the goal, and that is what is important, most people, the goals that they've set, they haven't really thought through. So when you've set that goal and you haven't really thought through the process of what is the price that I have to pay to achieve this goal, then the goal is not really set in stone, because you haven't made the conscious decision to say, listen, I am willing to pay the price. So therefore, if you now go back and some of the goals you've set, you ask yourself that question, and you can honestly say that it's not worth it. It's not worth the price that I have to pay. Then change that goal. If there's no alternative, like you said, if there's no alternative to your first goal, so let's say it is a goal of you have to save 1,000 Rand a month, otherwise you're not going to be able to survive, you're not going to be able to put food on the table. So it's something that really, really, really has a big reason. Then you have no choice but to pay the price. But again, what you need to do is then you have to be consciously aware about the price that you have to pay. Because only when you are aware of the price that you have to pay will you be able to do it. It is when you're not aware going in that it's so easy to compromise on that and still have the bad habits, do the wrong things. So I hope that answers your question. So it's not really compromising on your goal. It's sitting down and really looking at your goals consciously and being aware. I always say to our students that awareness is 80% of the battle won. We tend to live our life on autopilot. We just know, okay, we need to set goals in the beginning of the year, so we set some goals. We have some New Year's resolutions because everybody does that. So we live a lot on autopilot, and we think life will just work itself out. But we have to be consciously aware. We have to live our life with awareness. And once you are aware, you can make better decisions. And if something is not worth it, because a goal is just as achievable as the why underlying that goal. So the stronger the reason, that why of yours, the bigger the chance that you're going to achieve the goal. It is so easy for us to say, I can't, but it's all about the why. How strong is the why? I'll give you an example, and this is something that I always discuss or ask when I do training or we do forums with people around why and how important this why is. I ask the audience, if I say to you, on Sunday morning, you have to have R1 million available, will you be able to do it? And most in the audience, 99.9995, you always get the one guy that wants to be funny, but most people in the audience will immediately say, impossible, not going to happen, can't be done. But if I say, well, I have just kidnapped your son, and if you don't have R1 million available by Sunday, your son will be dead. Will you then find a way to get R1 million? And then most people turn around and say, yeah, I will. If I have to go rob a bank, if I have to beg, borrow, steal, I will find a way because it's my child's life that is in danger. And then the question is, did your ability to get the money change, or did your reason change? The ability was always there. You have the ability. You have been created as a success machine. You actually cannot fail. You will always achieve what your mindset tells you is achievable. So your ability didn't change. All that changed was the reason why. Initially, when I said get R1 million, you had no reason. So your mind immediately told you it's impossible. Once we add the reason, and that reason is a strong enough motivation, then suddenly your mind started looking for solutions. So I can't is one of the worst sentences that you can use in your language every single day. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, that can't be done. That is the worst limiting sentence you can use. If you want to change your life, change the way you talk. Stop talking about can't and rather say, I choose not to. Because then you are in control. Another analogy I use is I say, well, can I pack up everything and go live in Knysna in the forest somewhere in a little cabin for the rest of my life? And if I ask that to people, they say, no, I can't do that. I say, of course you can do it. But is it a good idea? No, not if you take into account what I say I want to achieve with my life. If I say, and this is my goal, is I want to change people's lives for the better. I want to educate people. I want to make them achieve their potential in life. I want to change the way financial services is done and explained to people. That is what I want to achieve. Now, taking into account that that is my goal, me going and living in a cabin in the woods or a cabin in the forest in Knysna will not help me achieve that goal. So therefore, I can do it, but it's not a good idea taking in consideration what my goals are. So take can't off the table and start talking about I choose not to, or it is not a good idea for me to do this. And it seems like it's only semantics. Guys, semantics matter. What we say and what we think will have a direct effect on what we manifest and what we create in our lives. Because again, you have been created as a success machine. You are going to create what you truly believe you can create. So you can say, I'm going to be a millionaire, but if you truly believe that it's impossible and you can't, you will be successful in creating that belief. You will be successful in creating the fact that you can't become a millionaire. Does that make sense? I hope so. So you will always be successful in what you believe you can create because you are a success machine. So we limit ourselves so many times by saying, oh, I can't do that, or I'm not going to do it now. I can't do it now because I need X, Y, and Z first before I get there. Stop limiting yourself because you're creating exactly that because you're a success machine. Okay, so it's important to really look at your goals and ask yourself the question, what is the price that I need to pay? And then make a decision whether you're going to be willing to pay that price or not. Now, when we do set a goal, how have we been taught to set a goal? Well, in school and after school, they taught me this recipe to set a goal. The first thing is you decide on what it is that you want to achieve, and you write it down and describe it into the finest detail. So if I want to drive a X6 BMW, you don't say I want to drive an X6. You say I want to drive a blue X6 with these mags, and this is the model number, and you go into a lot of detail. You then write it down. Once you've written it down, you then give it a time frame. You say, I want to achieve this by then. Then you look at what do you need to do to get there, and then you break it down into smallest daily steps. So to drive a BMW, I have to earn X amount, or I have to save X amount of money. To save X amount of money over 12 months, I need to save X amount per month. To save X amount per month, I need to save X amount per week, and so on and so forth. And you break it down into smaller and smaller and smaller steps. And when I explain it to you, I'm sure you're sitting there thinking, yeah, that makes sense. That is how we set goals. The question I want you to ask yourself and think about is, the biggest things you have achieved in your life. Think about back on your life and the things that you are really proud of, that you have achieved. Did you do these steps when you achieved that goal? Did you sit down, write it down, break it down into steps and do it every single day? And I can almost guarantee you're sitting there thinking to yourself, no, I didn't. So guys, as logical as it sounds, in practical terms, that is not how goal setting works. That is not how we achieve the big things in life. How you achieve a goal is the first thing you do is you look at the goal and you don't go into infinite detail because it limits you, it limits the universe to give you what you actually want to achieve. Because what difference does it make really if it's an X6 blue one with those mags, or it is a red one? Or if it's actually a Mercedes instead of a BMW. Does it really make a difference? Or is it about the feeling that driving that car is going to give you? The status that you're going to achieve by driving that car? What is it that really drives you? The blue X6 or the effect and the feeling of driving the blue X6? So don't limit yourself with exactly what you want. You need to understand what it is that you want to achieve and what it's going to mean and the why behind it. Then you need to understand what the price in general terms is going to be that you're going to have to pay. You're going to say, I have to give up smoking, or I have to spend an hour a day extra. I have to take 6 to 9 every evening and work on my part-time business. Whatever that is, understand those steps that you're going to have to pay and make the commitment. And then you make the decision that doesn't matter what happens, you absolutely will achieve that goal. Come hell or high water, nothing will stop you from achieving that goal. And once you have made those decisions, you start taking action in the general direction of your goal. You don't try and figure out the whole route. You take action in the general direction of the goal with an absolute belief that the goal has already been achieved. So think back again on that big goal that you are proud of. And generally that is how you worked. You made the decision that this goal is what I'm going to achieve, come hell or high water. You absolutely believed in your heart that you're going to achieve it. And you started working in the general direction of the goal. And then you were open to being flexible as things happen from external sources. You were able to change and move with the blows to still keep track of achieving that goal. To give you an idea, I read a book, the kids bought me a book a couple of years ago about the moon landing. Now, I can't remember the specific percentage, so please don't quote me on that. But they say that on them aiming to achieve or to get a man on the moon, that ship, I think it was Apollo 11. Apollo 11 was off course 97 or 98% of the time. It was not on course to hit the moon, but they still hit the moon. Why? If it was off course 97% of the time, how did they still achieve the goal? By adjusting, making micro adjustments the whole time. Because as they adjust one place, it was off track, and then they adjusted back again, it was off track, and then they kept adjusting until it hit the moon, because the goal was to get to the moon. And that is how you set goals. Not, I have to do it this, today I have to save 100 Rand, tomorrow 100, the next day 100. Because the moment you start breaking it down and you miss a day or you miss 2 days, you get COVID, you're sick, suddenly your whole goal falls apart. But if you keep focusing on the end goal with the absolute belief that you are going to achieve it, if something comes on your path, you get COVID, that doesn't derail your whole plan. It's just another obstacle that you're going to overcome on the path to your goal, because the goal is already achieved in your mind and you are a success machine. So let's talk about IMID and my system that I've developed over the last 20 years that I use myself to help me achieve the goals that I've set. What does IMID stand for? So the first I in IMID stands for inspiration. You have to, if you set yourself a goal, you have to find inspiration to show you that it is possible to achieve this goal. Whether it is reading a biography of somebody else that have achieved something similar or that have overcome terrible adversity to become successful. Anything like that can inspire you to give you the belief that you can achieve it as well. Guys, we all tend to underestimate our own abilities. We always think, and I battle this every single day in my life as well. We look at other people and we think, but they're something special, or there's something special to them, and that's why they became successful. They are smarter than us. They're faster. They have better genes. They had a better upbringing. And we tend to think that we have these obstacles that other people that become successful don't have. And one thing I've realized by reading biographies and learning about other people's successes and failures in life is that it is people just like us. More often than not, it is people that come from worse situations that I have come from, that had less to start off with, that had less talent, less intelligence, less opportunities than I, that became hugely successful. And when you start understanding that it is not somebody's education or their intelligence or their genetic makeup or their upbringing that makes the difference towards their success or not, you start finding the inspiration to understand that you are capable of achieving greatness as well. So go and find inspiration. Go and motivate yourself. If somebody else can do it, you can do it as well. Once you have that motivation or that inspiration to say, I can do it as well, you then go to education. Guys, you have to continually educate yourself. You never know everything there is to know. And what tends to happen is we jump into a goal without really understanding what it is that is needed to achieve this goal. What do I need to know so that I don't spend months and years trying to achieve a goal, floundering around in the dark, not really understanding what it is that I need to do? So educate yourself. We live in a society where there is no reason at all not to be educated about something. Guys, we live in an age, the information age. You have more access to information in your hand than somebody like Leonardo da Vinci had in his whole life. You can access that information within minutes. Anything under the sun that you want to know how to do, you can get within seconds. You can learn how to do that. So to say I don't have money to take a course or I don't know how to do something is a cop-out. It's an excuse that we use because we don't have a strong enough reason to pay the price to achieve that goal. Test this out. Think of something ridiculous that you think wouldn't be available and go Google how to do X. And please don't Google how to build a bomb because you will have a problem. But anything within reason that you think might not be there. And I promise you, you will find websites on it. You will find YouTube videos on it telling you exactly how it works. About a year and a half ago, I bought a timer for my swimming pool pump. And it didn't come with any instructions. So I didn't know how to set this timer. And I thought to myself, you know what? I don't know how to do it. I couldn't figure it out. So I Googled it. And the exact timer was on YouTube, a video step by step that told me exactly how to program that timer. So guys, this is a pool timer that has a video on YouTube to show you. Anything you want to learn, you can. So there is no excuse to say, I don't know how. Okay, so education. Educate yourself as much as possible. But remember, knowledge alone is not power. The implementation of knowledge is power. So the M in IMID stands for motivation. Once you have educated yourself, you need to find the motivation to start taking action. So motivation leads to implementation. That's the second I. And motivation and implementation works hand in hand. Because without motivation, you won't implement. And without implementation, there's no power. Because knowledge alone is not power. The implementation of knowledge is power. So these two go hand in hand. You start motivating yourself so that you can start implementing. So this is important. Guys, I can't motivate you. A motivational speaker can't motivate you. You can only motivate yourself. I always talk about, in Afrikaans we say spookasem motivation or candy floss motivation. What I mean with that is a lot of the motivational speakers out there, they go rah, 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 you are very excited and it's like eating a whole bunch of candy floss. You've got all the sugar rush energy and 10 minutes later you hit the low and it's gone. So if you rely on external forces to motivate you, you will have candy floss motivation. You will be all excited, all energetic for a short period of time, and before you know it, that motivation is gone and your energy is gone. So you have to find the motivation inside of you. And that motivation is linked very, very closely to your why that you started off in the beginning of your goal setting journey. Why do I want to achieve this? If that why isn't strong enough, you're going to battle to get the motivation. So work on that why. The second thing is stop aiming. I've got a thing when I was very young and I started out in business. I was a planner. I wanted to have everything because I was a perfectionist. Everything had to be perfectly ready before I started. And I never got things going because I wanted it to be perfect. And my mentor at that time gave me a little plaque that I put on my desk which says ready, fire, aim. Not ready, aim, fire. Because at some point you have to fire before you know whether you still have to aim. You don't know. If you look at setting a gun, you want to set the sights on a gun. How do you know whether that sights are out or in if you haven't fired one shot at least? So you set a gun, the sights on a gun by firing a shot, seeing where it hits, and then adjusting your settings. So you don't aim and then fire, you fire and then aim. So stop aiming, do your planning, do your education, get motivation and implement. Start firing and then you start adjusting. Remember, be stubborn in your goals, flexible in your methods. You have to be able to adjust. So that's the implementation. And then the last one to help you achieve the goal is called determination. The D stands for determination. Guys, here's the reality, and I don't want to burst your bubble and all your excitement. The moment you set out on a course to achieve a goal, things will go wrong. Something will break. You'll get sick. The kids will get an ear infection. The dog will get ill. Whatever, things will go wrong. It is as if the universe goes, let's just check how committed you are. Let me just throw this in and that in to just check whether you are really committed to this. And why is this important? Why does it have to happen? You have to have these obstacles because it helps you to learn and it helps you to adjust course to achieve the goal. It creates the friction you need. These problems, these obstacles creates the friction you need to move forward. Without friction, you can't go anywhere. So you don't grow, you don't move forward if there's no friction. The analogy I use is if you take a Formula 1 race car and you put glass wheels on that Formula 1 car and you put it down on a glass plane and you floor it, is that car going to go anywhere? No, it's just going to stand there spinning. It's not going to go anywhere because there's no friction between the wheel and the surface. Only when there is friction can the power that is in that car move it forward. So the obstacles, don't see it as failures. Don't see it as reasons why you can't do something. See it as friction that helps you to move forward, that makes you stronger. You have to go through that. So see it as a positive that you are moving in the right direction. That is why you are achieving or why you are experiencing this friction. And that determination is what gets you there. I'm going to finish off with my life motto. And this is something that has carried me through my life. And that motto is, success is largely a matter of hanging on after others have let go. I want you to really think about that. Success is largely a matter of hanging on after others have let go. You don't have to be the most talented to become the best. You don't have to be the strongest, the fastest to become the best. You just have to hang on longer than the others. If you want to be good at something, you want to be the greatest tennis player, you train longer than the guy next to you. If he stops training after an hour, you train for an hour and a half. You hang on after others have let go. And so many times in my life, I've had to hang on where everybody else quit around me. And because I was the only one left standing, I became the best at what I did. Because everybody else quit. So guys, when you set a goal, make sure you understand what it is that you want to achieve and why. what is the price that you have to pay, and start using IMID to help you achieve that goal. And then never quit. Once you've set the goal, be stubborn. Doesn't matter what obstacles come, you see them as stepping stones and friction to move you forward. Good luck for 2022. I am so excited for what we are going to achieve with this show, with Berg Studio, and everything else we are going to do to change people's lives. Thank you for joining me this morning, and I will chat with you guys again next week, Thursday, same time, same place. Hi guys, Lourens here. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it informative and you got some benefit out of it. Please add in the comments any questions you might have or any other topics that you would like me to talk about. Please subscribe to our channel, hit the bell button so that you can get notified of any new videos that we post so you don't miss anything. Thanks guys, see you around.